Hey everybody, Jim Malone here on Dallas Trading Floor. I have a special edition today. It is the special on the Tesla 5-for-1 stock split. It's a unique opportunity in which you can possibly make some very, very good money. These are very, very rare when you have stock splits like this that are as great as this. This is a 5-for-1 stock split. And what's so amazing is this is on the heels of a 4-for-1 Apple stock split. So it is just it's crazy out there. One of the great things about a stock split is I have studied these for quite a while, and there is a absolute pattern to how stock splits trade. And that's what I want to kind of share with you today on the show. And by the way, if you're watching on TikTok, I am simulcasting this on YouTube at youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. And just go there because you're going to see some of the things on the screen that I can't show on the TikTok screen. But I am simulcasting this on YouTube at youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. And the number of this show is number 108. So just kind of want to get into it now with the stock split for Tesla. And basically, the interesting thing about it is we are still in a confirmed uptrend. As a matter of fact, today we moved up back over the 11,000, and this is very, very bullish. I think that the stock splits may have something to do with it. We were down a little bit yesterday, and I was stopped out of some of my positions in Tesla. But when I heard this news, I ran to the machine and moved into the stock. So this is basically the strategy. Basically on on August 11th, which was yesterday, Tesla after hours announced that they were going to do a stock split. And the way this works is for everybody that has one share of stock on the date of record, they then will receive at a later date a dividend. But this isn't a money dividend, this is a stock dividend. This is a dividend of stocks. So for every one share of Tesla that you are of record on the 21st of August, you will, by the 28th of August, receive 4 more shares. So on the 31st of August, which is a Monday, the stock will start trading at a level that is, you take the closing price on the 28th and you divide it by 5, and that's going to give you where it's going to start out on the 31st. But this is a very golden opportunity because typically a company will not split a stock unless they are foreseeing very much of a demand in the future. The problem with Tesla stock is it ran up so much that it became very difficult to trade. You just couldn't buy all that many shares. So a lot of people had to buy fractional shares and that kind of thing. And that has some advantages, but really it's better to actually own the shares. And that's kind of what they did with this stock split. So this does not happen very often. Now, there are some stocks like Microsoft that since its inception in 1986 have split, I think, 7 or 8 times. But this, as far as I know, this is the first time that Tesla has split. So they're kind of making up for lost time. Usually you'll split 2 for 1, and then if it does well, it'll strip maybe 2 for 1 again. What Elon Musk and the gang are doing here is that they're splitting at 5 for 1, which is kind of just getting it all out there. So this is a very, very bullish event, and it follows a very, very predictable pattern. And that's kind of what I want to show you here. Basically, if you are an owner of stock on the 21st, you will receive the shares, and by the 28th you will have the shares, and then they will actually start trading on the 31st. So here's what I want to show you as how this works. The first phase is basically the announcement phase, and all stock splits basically go through this pattern. So I want to kind of show you this pattern, and then I want to show you how you can benefit from this pattern as well. Here's the first thing we don't typically know, and that's before the announcement. As a matter of fact, I was stopped out of stock. I was stocked out of my position because Tesla actually moved down on the day of the announcement. But then after the announcement, that was yesterday, after hours, it then rapidly moved up. So yesterday was position 1, and then on the announcement, you can see there was this quick, rapid movement up. Now, Tesla closed yesterday at regular trading hours below $1,400. As a matter of fact, about $1,380. Then upon the announcement, it went up about $40 immediately in after-hour trading. That's when I came in and bought some of my shares. Then when it opened in the morning, it went up even further. So this is this motion here. So basically, we are now at stage 2. And I kind of want to show you that stage here. Oh, there we go. Basically, this is where the announcement was made. Now, it wasn't made. I made a mistake on the slide. It wasn't on July 29th. It was actually on August 11th here. I didn't quite update this properly. But they announced the 5-for-1 stock split here. It's going to peak probably in several days. You're going to see the stock peak. And then it will move down again, typically. Now, Tesla closed at $1374.39 and then moved in after hours to $14.52. Now, it's already beyond that now. So I want to show you this the next time that we can get into the stock. Right now, it's still moving up. We still haven't peaked out. I suspect that towards the end of the week, we will see it moved up. Now, over the weekend, it's likely to pull back a little bit. And basically, when it pulls back, there will be some selling in here, but then it will continue up. We may not even see a pullback on this stock, to be honest with you. That's why I think it's very important that you possibly look at buying 1, 2, 3, 4, however many shares right now, because I do believe that we may see a little bit of a pullback, but we're likely to see it move much higher prior to the actual date of record. That's the 21st that it moves higher on that. So let me show you that. Okay, this is the date. This is the date that the actual shares will be distributed. That's on the 28th. Okay, that's a Friday. That's typically where it's going to be at the peak. Typically what will happen is that it'll move up to that date. That will be the highest it will be pre-split. Then it typically will go through the weekend, and then after the weekend, then it will start to move down. And the reason it will move down is because people will sell off parts of their position, but it will regain strength here at 5. So we want to maximize the amount of money that we can make on this. So we're right now at stage 2. We're going to move in stage 2 probably for another day or two towards the end of the week. Then I suspect over the weekend it will slacken a little bit. It'll come down a little bit. I don't think Tesla's going to come back off that much. I do think we may trade up as high as $1,700 a share by the end of the week. But who knows on that? It's really hard to say. But once it reaches that, it will move. It should move back a little bit on Monday, down a little bit maybe by Wednesday, and then start to move higher on that. So basically, this gives us several opportunities if we're not already in the stock to get in the stock. One would be right now, okay, and then up until the weekend, and then wait for the weekend. Wait until it probably will retrace, and then about Tuesday or Wednesday, you're going to see that thing start to move up again to its very highest level. Its highest level is probably going to be achieved right before it splits 5-for-1. And then after it splits, it's going to move down a little bit. And then on the uptrend, with the split stocks, you're going to see that start to move up as well. So that kind of gives you a sort of a general idea of how I think it's going to move. So we're basically through phase 1. That was pre-announcement. Phase 2 was the split announcement. That was basically yesterday. Okay. Today is a good time to buy the shares. Now, this is a little bit outdated because it's moved a little bit beyond me. I was saying it'd be good to buy on a limit order 3 to 7% below the price of $1,500. But I think that we might have to push this up a little bit. This is a little bit obsolete. You might want to go push this up to maybe 1575, 1580, and then back off of that about 3% on the limit orders to see if you can pick those up. I suspect we're going to have a relatively good window between the 12th, which is today, through about the 19th, maybe a little bit earlier on this, just because of this is just going to be a very, very hot issue. Now, what I then recommend doing is that upon the date right before, it splits 5-for-1, selling half your shares. And that way you can benefit from this run up, but you also get the split action as well. So my recommendation is to continue buying them up until about the 19th, or maybe a little bit before that. And then right before it splits 5-for-1, sell half your shares. Once you do that, you then will get you'll get the profit from the half of the shares, but you'll also get the action of the split. So that will give you a good idea. And then wait about a week or so as the stock moves down and then moves back up to start buying back the split shares from about September 3rd to about September 10th. So that's kind of my idea on how to trade it. Okay, here is a chart of Tesla. As you can see, it's just almost parabolic here. We're not only above the 200-day line, we're above the 50-day line, but you can see there is a tight pattern here. It kind of moves up and down like railroad tracks here. That means that there's going to be a further breakout, more than likely, depending on how it trades in here. So this is why I'm explaining the pattern that I showed you first. Basically, and it follows this pattern it's not exact, but most stock splits on stocks like this tend to follow that pattern. I'll go back through that pattern in just a second here. But on this chart, we see a tight pattern, which means that we likely are going to see even higher movement of this stock. I think we're going to top out probably at about 1750, or maybe even as high as 1800. But it's very hard to tell because there's no actual direct evidence on the chart. The reason I'm saying this is because this is where the highs were. At one point, we hit right about 1800. So I suspect as we move into the split, we're going to see it go to about 1700, 1750 a share. Now, if it goes beyond that, then I was too conservative here. But I suspect we're going to see it match its former peak, which was about almost 1800. I think it was 1790. Let me see if I can give you. I can't give you the exact one on that. But here's the thing: if you want to sign up for my trade alerts, I send out action trade alerts all the time on how to trade stocks. Now, I did make a few typos in this one, so I apologize for this. I'm going to try to clean that up. But I have these trade alerts, and you can sign up for them. They're totally free. Just go to dallastradingfloor.com. And my email address is dallastradingfloor@gmail.com. And of course, anytime you want to call, that I can answer the phone. I probably won't answer the phone. I may have to call you back, 214-223-5087. And that's for the trade alerts. So I just kind of wanted to go over those things to show you how to trade the stock. So I'm going to take a few questions here, and then we're going to probably go back to show you how I'm going to be trading Tesla stock here. So let's go to the first question. All right. Hey, wild ride. Absolutely. Totally wild ride. Okay. Tesla also is going to move a little bit up and down. Let's see if I can give you an exact number on it right now. It depends on when you're looking at it as to what the actual quote will be. It's not likely to go up in a straight line or straight down. That's the main thing that you have to be cognizant of. It's going to trade around an area, but I do believe in the next few days it's probably going to trade up to about the 1700 to 1750 line. So let me see if I can give you an exact right now. I'll give you an exact chart on this. There we go. Perfect. Let's go to that chart. Okay. Yeah, it's I think it's been trading up. Let me show you this chart, and I think that you'll agree that I don't think it's down. I think it was up. Yeah, it's moved. It's currently it's up $177 today, trading at about the 1552 level. Now, I do expect it to move before the announcement I do expect it to move up to about the 1700 to 1750 level. That's why I would recommend accumulating stocks into the split, and then at the split, right the day before, selling half your shares and then holding the others through. So that's sort of how I would recommend trading it. That's probably how I'm going to be. I'm going to be traded. Okay, Apple is only traded sideways or up for the split announcement. Will not have that. Okay, well that's true. I'm in both. By the way, I'm in both of these stocks as well. Okay, so here we go. Do you recommend selling? Yes. Well, actually, I do. I don't necessarily recommend selling the entire position. I believe that you should sell half of the position because I do believe that you're going to see some good. You're going to see some good action in there. So let's look at the tab for Apple here really quickly. Yeah, there we go. All right, here's Apple, and it's trading. Of course, it's trading pre-split as well. Let's show you that. Yeah, it's up today $14. So I can't say that. I mean, yes, it's bounced around a little bit, but it's hardly off. I mean, it's hardly off. I do expect Apple to be not. I think on Apple we're likely to see it move up to right about the 490 level. That's what I expect on. It may do a little bit better than that, but I suspect to run it at about a 490 level on the on the 27th. I do believe that. So that kind of gives you a kind of a look-see at that on how to trade that. You could also trade this with options, but I think that it's a pure play. Yeah, I definitely will. I definitely will review Apple as well. So I appreciate that very much. I'm gonna show you that. Oh, and then the obvious question. Boy, this is the question we were talking about here this today at Dallas Trading Floor. Merv and I were talking about this, and yeah, I think that it's overdue. Amazon is definitely overdue to split. So we just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen on that. But that's kind of the way it is. So let me see if I can take some questions from TikTok. What indicators do you use to trade? Well, I use a lot of different indicators. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you several of the other indicators that I use. And by the way, everybody that's looking on TikTok, I'm actually simulcasting this on YouTube at youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. Now, the first indicator that I look at almost every day is this one, and it is the market direction. We are in a confirmed uptrend right now, so it's not a good time to be short any of the stocks. We want to be long stocks currently. Why? Because the market is in a confirmed uptrend. By the way, the NASDAQ has snapped back. We had 2 days of kind of mediocre performance, but it just seems to be on rocket rails today, and it's over 11,000. This is a psychological more than a technical point here. I do think that 1100 on the NASDAQ is an extremely important psychological level, and I think if we maintain above this, we're likely to see coming into the election probably even more strength. Now we're in a dangerous situation because there's been so much money put into the system that the money tends to be the gains aren't being shared. The gains aren't being shared equally here. Most of the capital, the new capital that's coming into the market, is going into the tech sector. So it tends to be very, very overheated. That said, there is still a lot of money going in there. So it's on the one hand it's good, on the one hand it's bad. You just have to be very careful when you enter your positions. It's very, very, very important that you set a stop loss of 8%. Lower than when you went in, and the reason is because these things can snap back. I had Tesla snap back yesterday. It went below 1400. It was trading at about 1380, 1370 just yesterday at the close, and I was stopped out. I had to go back in after hours after I heard the announcement, and I had to go rebuy some of the stock. But I'm glad that I did it, of course, because I protected my position from potentially a down, even further movement down. So it's very volatile. So that's the thing. You want to leg into the stock. You don't want to go in with all guns a-blazing. You want to take your portfolio, divide it by 8, and then go in maybe with a half position and then another half position. That's how you want to go into it. Even though you might give up a little bit of potential profit, it's worth it to protect yourself in going into the stocks because it is very, very volatile. So just wanted to put that forward here. All right. So, hey, thank you, Dan. I appreciate thanks from Canada. I do appreciate talking to you at all times. So let's see if we have some other question. So what if I sell on the 22nd? Well, good question, because as everybody knows about Tesla, the date of record is the 21st. Everybody that's on the 21st is going to be eligible for the stock dividend, which in this case is 4 shares for everyone owned. And of course, that's going to be distributed on the 24th. And I believe it will be, it will start trading in actuality at the new price on the 31st. But if you sell on the 22nd, you would not get, even though you're the owner of record, you would not get the stock dividend, but you would get the profit from the stock sale. So this is kind of this is kind of a weird thing. If you're the owner of on the 21st, you are going to, whoever's the owner at the end of the 21st is going to have that stock dividend. Now, if you sell on the 22nd, I believe that you have a share, you're adjusted for the price as of, it is a retro adjustment. So I'm not exactly sure how they're going to account for it, but you will not get the shares, but you will get the benefit if you bought it, if you have an increase in the stock. So it's kind of complicated, but you will not get shortchanged, but you will also not get the stocks either. And I suspect the way it's going to trade is that on the 31st, we're going to see the stock, basically it's going to dip a little bit because a lot of people on the 31st are going to say, well, look, I had 20 shares of Tesla. I now have 100. I want to sell off 50 of them. That's going to cause the market to retrace a little bit, just a little bit. But it's not going to, but I suspect it's going to move back up again. So let me just kind of show you the, once again, the sort of the stages that we're looking at for sort of how it's going to go through, how it's going to go through the stages. Okay. And I'm going to show you the slide for the announcement phase, but this is applicable to all of the stages. I'm just going to kind of point out and go through each one here. We've passed this first stage, and that's the pre-announcement, and that was before 5 o'clock yesterday. That was the pre-announcement. So we really can't do anything there. We didn't know about it. When we found out about it, then this is the announcement. Now, I yesterday, when I found out about this, I was buying stocks in the after hour. Normally, you can't do that, though. Normally, you can't buy in the after hours like that. You have to wait until it opens. So you typically have to buy a little bit higher. The difference there was about $25 or so. It moved up between the pre-announcement, the announcement, and the after hours trading. When it opened up, it gapped up about $40, $50 a share. Now, the people that bought it in the morning, and I also increased my position in the morning, it also went up. And by lunch, it was trading above $1,500. Currently, I think it's trading right at about, I think currently we're trading at about $1,550. So let me just take a quick look to see if indeed that is the case for Tesla stock, because we're still in trading. We're guys. We're just almost at the end of the trading day. So I want to see how it is trading. Yeah, and it's traded down a little bit, just slightly, right before the close. So let's look at that now. So it's traded down. It traded back up. It's traded up at $15.50, but at lunch it was trading at about $1,500. I expect in the next few days, prior to the date of record, which is on the 21st, I expect this to trade up to the 17 to 1750 range and possibly beyond that. I think the stock will reach its peak, at least in the short term, about on the 27th, the day before the stock dividends are distributed. So I believe that is going to be the time. So I would recommend buying shares into that and then possibly cutting your position right before the actual stock split. And the advantage of that, of course, is you could make some good short-term profit, and then you also have the shares that will benefit you when you come through that split. So that's kind of a cool thing to do. So let's see if we have another question. Do you think there's a chance that Ford will benefit from this? It might. Ford actually might benefit from this. As a matter of fact, we could take a quick look and see how Ford is trading to see if there's been any sympathy for the Ford for Ford. Of course, everybody knows that the symbol for Ford is F, and it is moving down. So, but it has definitely moved past a key. It's moved down a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can get a better chart on Ford so that we can kind of take a look at it together to see how it's trading and see if it's trading in sympathy with Tesla. So let's bring that chart up just really quick here. And as you can see, it's moved above. Yes, it's still in the buy zone. The buy zone for Ford basically is right about at the 200-day moving average right there, plus about 5%. So we're looking at a pivot. So we just hit the pivot, basically a week ago. So we're right at the pivot, which is about 705 in the price. And so Ford is potentially buyable from about $7.05 multiplied times 1.05. That will give you the buy range that Ford is in. It's still a weak chart, though. It's nowhere near a Tesla chart, but it may move in somewhat in sympathy. It does look like the 50-day moving average is going to cross the 200-day moving average. We're still a little bit early, but if the 50-day does cross the 200-day, that's what they call a golden cross, and that typically indicates that the stock is going to move higher. So there is a potential play on Ford, but it's definitely don't want to take away from the play on Tesla, because Tesla is going to wear, the thing about the stock market is it's very, very concentrated. The great stocks that move higher without the rest of the market a lot of times, and that's probably the case with Tesla. You're going to see it move higher, and that Tesla's the one you want to be in. If you can only be in one or two shares of Tesla, great. That's probably better than 150 or 200 shares of Ford. Not that Ford is a bad company. It's just that the bulk of the investment is going to move into Tesla, at least for right now, because of the stock split. So that's definitely where you want to be on that. So let's see. So if your strategy is to sell 1/2 position on the 29th, who would buy it? Well, there is always going to be buyers, because what's going to happen? It's sort of like a bandwagon effect. As people realize that that this thing is going on, they're going to get overly excited, and of course, most of the people will buy. It's sort of like the first adopters of a new technology. By the time it really is to buy that, all the first adopters have bought. We're essentially, if you're buying right now, you're not a first adopter, but you're sort of an early stage adopter. As it gets closer to the date of record, and people realize this, they then will move much stronger into the stock, and you will see kind of a bandwagon effect. That's the reason why it will trade up typically until about the 27th. And that's why, one of the reasons why is I recommend, maybe stretching it a little bit, buying a little bit of extra Tesla, and then on the 27th, as it trades up, then possibly selling those shares, and then possibly, pocketing pocketing that profit, and then holding half of your shares through the stock split into the stock split. Remember, it's not going to change the price of the overall value of the shares that you own, because basically you're just going to divide the value of the stock by 5, and that's going to give you the trading price that's going to happen on the 31st of August. So it's not going to change the value at all. But because there are more shares available and because there are more potential owners of the stock, I do believe that we're going to see, and as a matter of fact, I almost know this, because 97 times out of 100, the stock split goes through the cycle that I showed you on this. We're going to see it move higher. So you're definitely not too late to get in on it, but you want to be a owner of record before the 21st of August to get the stock split. So that's very important, that you try to do any buying that you can do up until about the 21st. Why is gold and silver going down? Well, because, Dave, and this is a tough thing to. This is why I recommend not buying gold or silver physical, but buying the mining stocks. The reason that gold and silver is going down is because people are realizing that we're not in an inflationary environment. We are in a deflationary environment. Now, this is a very weird thing. What do I mean by that? Well, because the interest rates on the government debt is so low, basically cash is king. Now, not everyone is going to believe that. You're going to hear things on the radio that are going to say, buy physical gold, it can never be taken away from you, blah, blah, blah. Well, basically, the problem is not is not inflation right now. We don't have too many people chasing too few goods. We have too many goods chasing too few qualified buyers. And that's the key. We're having a meltdown in the commercial real estate business because many people are working from home and rents aren't getting paid. So that is deflationary. And so people are realizing that, maybe gold is not necessarily the good thing. Now, if we think that there's going to be a regime change or something like that, maybe then you would see gold going higher. But gold is not a very good investment right now, believe it or not. You want to be in things that are increasing, you want to be in the flows where the market is moving capital. And one of the areas that it's moving it into is electric vehicle production. This is a major shift that hasn't happened in my lifetime. The internal combustion engine has been king for about 110, 120 years. This is changing. And Tesla is the beginning of this change. Now, this is going to throw ripples through the entire economy. Many companies are not going to do well in this. I think that some of the big companies, some of the companies that you've even heard of, are going to do poorly. For instance, Daimler-Benz, which invented the motor car, they actually owned 10% of Tesla at one time, up until about 5 years ago. They sold their position. Why? Because they wanted to concentrate on building diesel cars. Well, they're not going to win in this. They're going to have to play the catch-up game with Tesla. Currently, Tesla has, I predict, and again, I'm not an expert in this, I'm just reading the pundits, has about a 3 to 5 year lead on all other vehicle manufacturers. And this especially has to do with their battery technology. Now, in September, I believe it's September 12th, but I'm not exact, maybe it's the 21st. I have to get the exact date. Elon Musk has announced Battery Day. Well, what that is they're going to roll out their new battery technology. Here's the thing that's going to happen, and I predict they're going to have an 800-mile battery for many of their Tesla Model Ys. And if this is true, this will mean that the Tesla car will then have double the range of the average, actually very, very fuel-efficient car. This will change everything. Why? Because it's much more inexpensive to fuel an electric vehicle than it is a gas vehicle, even with gasoline prices being below $2 a gallon here in Texas. It only costs maybe $8 to $9 to fully charge an electric vehicle. This is revolutionary. Not only that, you're going to see a geopolitical shift in the world. Why? Because most countries in the world are like Russia or like Saudi Arabia. They sell really nothing. that people want to buy. They sell oil and gas. Well, these sales are the bulk of their export earnings. So these countries are going to have a lot of trouble, and they're going to have to sell commodities. This is the reason why gold is probably likely to drop significantly in price. Why? Because countries like countries like Russia will no longer be able to sell the oil and gas because it's not as much demand. So they will have to sell other things like minerals, gold being in particular. This may increase production and decrease prices. I say may. So the Tesla car is very, very deflationary for commodity trading countries. We're going to see, we may even see wars because of this, because countries like Saudi Arabia, like Russia, just won't have anything to sell in the market, and they will get poorer. So they will have to do something. And usually the way that what happens is they are minor wars. I think also there's a problem in Latin America because, again, they will also suffer with low commodity prices. But, I've rambled on and on about this, but the Tesla car, the electric vehicle, is a revolutionary product. Now, most of its effects are going to be felt in the first world for actually the car, but for the resources in the third world, they're going to be significant too. Because in the third world, they're not going to be able to sell as many products such as raw materials such as crude oil, because the demand won't be there. And so that's the reason why I think gold is maybe moving down. So that's an awful lot of talk about that, and I'll have more about that later. But let's take another question. Why should you sell half of your Tesla asset? And what about Apple? I have 55 shares of Tesla. Okay, well, that's very, very good. Well, boy, you should. The only reason I recommend selling half of your position is because you might want to get back some of that capital that you can then reinvest. That's the only reason. If you are a long-term investor, go hold it. I think that would be great. You're looking, if you have 55 shares of Tesla, you're looking, at very much of a windfall. You're going to end up with, 225. You're going to end up with 275 shares. That's tremendous. That is tremendous. So you don't necessarily have to sell it all. The only reason I recommend selling it is because here's what I do. I borrow money on margin before going into this. I will max out my margin right before, and then I will sell, and then I'll pay down that margin. Why? Because I like using other people's money at 7% to make basically, many hundreds of percent into this. So that's what I do. I typically move my margin up to the maximum, and then as it moves up, I then sell right before it peaks. So that's the reason I do it that way. So I can buy many more shares that way and benefit even more from the run-up in the shares. So, okay, so more questions from Tesla. What do you think is a good price to get in a Tesla? Well, I think right now is a good time to get into Tesla. Now, I think that, $1,500 is going to be a good price. You're going to find that $1,500 to $1,550, if you get into that price, I don't think you'll be disappointed. I do believe prior to the split, it's probably, based on what I'm looking at the charts, it's going to run basically up to about it's going to run up to about 1750. Now I'm show you the chart again here, and by the way, for everybody on TikTok, I'm broadcasting this live on YouTube. It's very easy to get. Just youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor. And this is special edition, special Tesla edition, and it's show number 108. Just wanted to show you this chart because I think it's very, very important. This is the weekly chart, and I look at it, but let's look at the daily chart to kind of give a better look at how it's trading. As you can see, yesterday, right before the announcement, it traded down all the way down to about 1385 or so, 1386. This is the low. And then in the announcement, it moved directly over $1,500. I do believe we're going to see it move up to this spike level, which is at 1794. So I do believe we're going to see right before this peak, we're going to see it trade up all the way to this spike here. And the reason I do is because we have this very strong buying activity today. As you can see, it's above the average. And with Tesla, this is a truly titanic number because Tesla is such a valuable stock and it's traded by so many people. Also, you'll notice the relative strength is 98, which is unbelievable. It's above the 200-day moving average and it's above the 50-day moving average. I go over all this to tell you that if you were to get in between 1500 and 1550, I don't think you'd be disappointed. I do think there's probably at least 100 to 200 bump, and that's conservative. That's a conservative figure. So if you were to buy it tomorrow, it is not too late to buy this. Everybody's going to tell you, oh, I missed the train. Well, I don't think you've missed the train because the train is going to be running up the tracks until about August 21st, the day of record. So you do have some time to get into it. I wouldn't be crazy. I wouldn't necessarily go in with both feet. I would put 1 foot in and then see if it trades up, then put 2 feet in. But I do believe it's going to trade up. That's just my opinion, and that's how I'm playing it too. And I'm actually creating using margin to do this. Why? Because I can borrow very, very inexpensively based on my other portfolio, and I can use money very, very inexpensively for a few days to possibly get this bump. And this almost always follows the same pattern. That's why I like to trade stock splits, because I have a very, very high likelihood of success, 90 to 95% success. All right, so I want to learn from you. Please let me know. Okay, one of the ways that you can learn from me, and I'm trying to produce some of these things because it took me, I was very fortunate many years ago to work for a gentleman who taught me how to trade the Qs. This was a long time ago, and this is when they were just starting out. And it changed my life, and I learned how to use the CAN-SLIM method, which I think is, by the way, the superior method, and it's what all technical traders use. So there is a book called How to Make Money in Stocks, A Winning System, Good Times or Bad, and that's the book that you want to read. But in the meantime, if you want free trade alerts, and this is how I'm trading the stock, go to dallastradingfloor.com and sign up for the free trade alerts. Also, if you're on TikTok, I can't show this on the screen because of the way TikTok works, but if you go to my profile, you hit the link there, it'll take you directly to the sign-up page, and you'll be on. You'll be on. I typically broadcast every day at 2:30 when the market is open. So, and that's Central Time, not Eastern. So Central Time. So it's right before the market closes. I believe the market has just about closed right now. But let's see. What do you think of CLSK? Let me just take a quick look at CLSK because I definitely want to be available to everybody that is in. Clean Spark, interesting company. Yeah, this is a tough one. Let me see if I can get a weekly chart on it. It looks like it's a pretty new company. Yeah, this is okay. So it's control software. I like software. I like the software area, but let's look at the chart here for Clean Spark. Let's see if it's a brand new company. Now, here's the thing with IPOs. I typically don't like to trade an IPO until it's been out for at least 3 months. Now, I'm going to have another show on how to trade IPOs because there's a definite way you can trade IPOs. Because just like stock splits, good IPOs typically go through a very similar chart pattern. But I'm not going to really get into that today because really today's show is about Tesla. But one of the things that you'll notice once you start becoming a technical trader is that every now and again, there are these chart patterns that appear that are very profitable to trade. One of them, of course, is the stock split. I'm in both the Apple split and the Tesla split. So these are very profitable trade. But there's also another way is to trade IPOs when they come out of the gate, because you don't typically want to buy an IPO for the first 3 months. And the reason is because of even the very best IPOs typically follow a pattern where they trade up and then they trade down, and then you have to wait until the institutional investing comes in order to make it tradable. So the long story short, Clean Spark, it's too early. Watch list the stock. Don't buy it. It's not ready yet. And that's just the deal. Fix. Okay, let's look at Fix. Many years ago when I was traveling in Greece, There was a beer called Fix, and I loved it. It was just the best. I wonder if that's similar. No, it has nothing to do with it. Comfort Systems. Okay, so this is Houston, Texas. Okay, yeah, it's a public HVAC company. Wow, that's interesting. By the way, yeah, this is it's okay. It's okay, but it's not. I wouldn't really. You know what? There's a better stock than this. It's Carrier. It's old Carrier. Let me just show you this one. If you're interested in the HVAC space, which I do think is a great space, by the way, but United Technologies um, just recently spun off a company that you're probably very familiar with called Carrier Air Conditioning. And by the way, they're a worldwide leader because last year when I was in Thailand, everybody had Carrier. And I also hear they're really big in Latin America and the Caribbean as well. So this company, even though it looks like a IPO, it's not really an IPO. This is a spinoff. This was a part for many years of United Technologies. And when United Technologies merged with Raytheon, they had to jettison some of their properties, and this is one of them. This is Carrier Gold. Nothing wrong with the company. They just moved it out of the portfolio because it didn't meet the requirements of being a primarily aerospace defense company, and this was spun off. It's a very, very good company, and as you can see, it has a 95 composite rating. So if you're interested in a relatively inexpensive stock that's high quality, I mean, the other company in Houston looks good, but these guys invented the air conditioner, and the stock is only selling for $29.78, which is a deal considering how strong these guys are. Now, they're currently in a loss position because it isn't on a cash flow basis. They are positive on a cash flow basis. This is some trailing revenue recognition items for prior expenses when they're part of United Technologies. But I do think that this is worth your while to at least watch list this one. The symbol is CARR, Carrier Air Conditioning, based in beautiful Syracuse, New York. All right, so let's see if I have another 1497. Excellent. When do you think the topping out occurs? Well, typically, when a stock goes through a stock split, I will show you that chart once again because it's really good to look at it. When it goes through a stock split, it typically will follow a very specific pattern, and this is the pattern here. This is the pre-announcement. This is the announcement. Then it peaks typically. That's going to happen in the next 3 days. You're going to see this peak. Then it's probably going to retreat a little bit, probably for about a week. But I don't know with Tesla. It's so strong, it may not retreat all that much. And then approximately a week from now, it will start its ascent to the peak. The peak will be on between August 21st and August 28th. More than likely, the peak is going to occur on August 27th, the day before the actual shares are distributed. So I do think that right now, if you were to buy, and again, there's no guarantees in life, but this is a pretty good idea that this is going to happen. Typically, stocks, when they go through this split, will follow this pattern, and I do believe this peak here is higher than the peak that is going to happen in the stock in about 2 or 3 days. In 2 or 3 days, you're going to see this stock basically move up, and then a lot of people are going to buy right at this peak, and then it's going to go down. They're going to get very disappointed. But as they come down, it will come back, and it will start moving higher once again. So I do think that for right now, there's a window of maybe 2 or 3 days that you want to be buying it. Then after the weekend, you want to watch the stock a little bit because I do believe it'll retreat. And then once it starts turning, that's when you want to start buying it again. Now, you want to sell it typically right before it peaks. Now, do you have to sell it? No. That's why I recommend selling only half of your position. Take the profits and then take the other and take the stock so you get the best of both worlds. That's the reason I recommend it. But if you're going on purely a short-term trade, purely for profit, then your best bet would be to sell on the 27th of August. So that's sort of how the chart kind of says this stock. That's kind of how it should work. So do you think RVP has any steam? I got out of RVP. This is a stock that I recommended in I actually did make money trading this, amazingly, because low price stocks are notoriously difficult to trade. But here's what you want to do. I don't know if RVP is going to come back, but here's what you want to do to lock in your profits. Now, this is what I recommend. When you buy the stock, set a stop loss. But if the stock moves up rapidly, say 10, 20, 25%, very quickly, take that stop loss and move it up. Move it up so that there's a gap, about a trailing stop loss of 8%. Now, you don't want to use the trailing stop loss, even though that's an option, because if it adjusts down, then you will lose some of that. So I always recommend using the market stop loss. But if you buy a stock like this and it starts to move up, move that stop loss up with it. If it reverses on you, you've captured that profit. And that's exactly what I did with RVP. And by the way, this is available in my special thing that I'm starting. I'm getting this rolling. It's Jim's low-cost stock portfolio of high-quality stocks. And this is available. Basically, all you have to do to get this is to go to DallasTradingFloor.com and send me in the comment section, send me a note, and I'll put you on this list. Now, I'm going to put a link for this in there. I haven't done this yet, but hopefully I'll have that up by tonight, and you can get that. But I do have a special list of low price stocks that are, and this is how I'm trading. This is actual live money. It's a very small account. I only started with, I think, about $6,000 in there, and it's exactly what I've retired and what I'm currently trading. Currently, I'm 2/3 in cash in this account, and I'm looking for the next one to start in. But it's Jim's low cost stock portfolio, and it's available at DallasTradingFloor.com. So if you are looking on TikTok, just go to my bio and then hit the link, and then I'll take you directly to the sign up page. And if you sign up there, also if you are on Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, or YouTube, the best way is to go directly to DallasTradingFloor.com and sign up there. So that's a good way to go as well on that. So let's see if we have a few more questions here. Oh, your green screen is off. Uh-oh, sorry about that. You know what? The thing about the green screen, I don't have the capability of doing the green screen on TikTok, only on YouTube. So if you want to see the charts and everything, you need to go to youtube.com/DallasTradingFloor. So sorry about that. On TikTok, I don't have the capability of doing a chroma key, unfortunately, but I do on YouTube at youtube.com/DallasTradingFloor. So, but I thank you for that comment. Why is C's going up higher on miserable earnings being reported? Will go lower. Wow. I'm sorry. I promised everybody here, about Apple. So here, and I've been talking on and on about everything but Apple. By the way, I did put out a trade alert on Apple, just like I did with Tesla regarding a stock split. And this is a very good opportunity. Now, I want to show you why. The chart on Apple. It's moved up significantly today as well. So let's pull up the chart for Apple. Okay, here's the thing. This is the daily chart, but I'm going to switch it to the weekly chart, which is kind of where you can see this better. It's moved above, and it's moved right up into here. Now it's starting to get a little bit tired in here, and I do believe that after hours it's backed off a little bit. 10 cents it's backed off, but currently it's at 454. I do think we're going to see Apple trade up probably to at least the 480, 485 level. But let me just check another chart to see if I can give you a better, closer number on where Apple is going to trade to. Now, remember, Apple announced a little over a week ago, so Apple is already further along in its. It's also further along in its travel here. So I want to kind of show you this. Now, this says Tesla here, but I'm actually talking about the Apple chart. So don't just disregard this, because I just want to show you this. The Apple stock is currently in phase 3, whereas the Tesla is in phase 2. In phase 3, we're moving up towards the date of record. The date of record for Apple, I believe, is a bit later. I think it's the 24th as opposed to the 21st. We're going to see, again, pretty much on the same day, the 28th of August, we're going to see both, probably the highest level, both for Apple and for Tesla. But currently, we're in this area. So I want to kind of I want to show you that. Now, let's look at the actual chart for Apple to see kind of where we are in things. I'm going to try to see if I can get a 10-minute chart for you. Take a look at that. So hopefully, oh, there we go. I'm just pulling it up now, and I'll have it up here in just a second. So Apple, there we go. And I'm going to show you the one. No, I'm going to show you the 30-minute chart here for Apple currently. All right, so here's the 30-minute chart for Apple today. Basically, these are the days, as you can see. This is what I was talking about, how it's lower here, and then you see how it's starting to move up. It's in a different phase of that of that movement. We're starting to level off, and we've passed the situation where it's starting to move up. Let me show you how that looks. When we go back over to the chart itself, we're going to show you that it's in phase 3. So here we go. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see, you see how it moved down with Apple, and now it's starting to move back up into phase 3. So we're going to see Apple move a little bit higher into the date of record. So let's go back to the actual live chart for for Apple on a daily chart. But I'm gonna switch a little bit further out. I'm going to go away from I'm going to go to the 60-minute view of the last few days, and you can just see how this correlates with the stock, with the chart that I just showed you. So here we go. This is the 60-minute chart of Apple, and as you can see, it moved lower, and then it's starting to now move higher. So for the next few days, we're going to see it start to move higher. I suspect we're going to trade up to at least the 485, 490 level, and possibly even the 500 level. But that's how I see Apple going forward. So that kind of gives you, hopefully, a rundown of how I believe it's going to trade. There's also time, by the way, there's still time left to get into Apple. I do think it's going to move higher, but I think it will move higher up until the 24th, which is the date of record for Apple. And of course, they're going to both distribute on the 28th of August, but the date of record for Tesla is the 21st of August, and the date of record for Apple is the 24th. So hopefully I gave you some things to think about there. Can you please can you please share the list of short selling stocks? Okay, I'm not going to do that, and the reason I'm not going to do that is not because I don't like your question. It's because we are not in a place that we're just short in the market. The market should only be shorted if the overall market direction is down. Currently, the market direction on the market is up, so we don't want to be shorting. We want to get our short list together, but we don't want to be shorting anything. And the reason we don't is because it's very dangerous to short in an upward trending market. I want to show you the trend. The market trend is up currently, and the NASDAQ is over 11,000. Now, we have to wait until the uptrend comes under pressure. Then we're going to get ready to short. Right now, it is not time to short anything. So we're not in a shorting situation. Now, if you've been watching me any amount of time, you know that in February, I was shorting the market actively. The reason why was because the market was in correction. When the market is in correction, that's the time to get into cash and short stocks. And when the market is in correction, you can do very well doing that. That's what I did there. So right now it's time to build a list of short stocks, but not short them. Just too dangerous. Berkshire B. Wow, good choice. Here's the thing about Berkshire B. Do you know that I don't know if you realize this, but Berkshire Hathaway is the largest single holder of Apple stock in the world, and it's very interesting. And this is a very telling thing. It Everybody talks about how Warren Buffett is a great investor, and he definitely is. I mean, but he has basically come to the conclusion, and I think wisely, that you cannot depend on just value investing anymore. It's just too difficult to do that. I mean, you end up in a situation where you miss the real winners. You know that he went in and he bought a ton of Delta stock, but about a week or two later, he realized that, hey, the airline business isn't coming back. Sell, and he did, and he sold kind of in the middle of the night. But guess what he did with that money? He took it and he reinvested in Apple, and that's why Berkshire B is probably a very good buy. As a matter of fact, Apple stock is more expensive right now than Berkshire, which is absolutely amazing considering the quality of Berkshire's holding. So BRK, let's see, BRK, and the B shares. Now there's the A shares and the B shares with Berkshire. There, okay, let's see if we can come up with that. Oh, let me see if I can get a list on that. There we go. And we're going to go to the B shares. So let me pull that up here really quick. There we go. And we're up today. And no surprise, because Berkshire is such a large holder of Apple shares. But again, it's not, look at the composite rating for Berkshire Hathaway. It's only a 68. I typically like to see at least 80s before I go. But it's not a bad one. And as you can see, it's an excellent chart. So, this is an interesting way to own Apple outside of Apple, is to buy Berkshire Hathaway, because Berkshire Hathaway is the largest shareholder of Apple. Okay, so last questions. Let's see. Okay, all right. Where's the? Okay, well, thank you for this question very, very much. There is, I do have a list of stocks on my special low-cost portfolio. But in order to get access to that, I need your email address, because it's actually, the reason is because it's a Google Sheets that changes all the time. So if you want to get access to that, it's super easy. Just go to Dallas Trading Floor in the comment section. I'm going to put a link in there tonight, hopefully, to get this, so you can go directly to that. But just go in there and put in the information that you want to see, the portfolio, and then send me your email, and then you'll be put on the list and you'll be able to see it. The reason is it's a Google Sheets, and I have to fool with the access on it, and because it updates all the time. So that's the way you can see the lists of stocks that I'm trading currently. So it's pretty cool. And thanks so much for this. By the way, Umar, thank you so much for this. What I'll do is I will try to get this in the system as quick as I can on this today. But you already subscribed to it. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm still working out the bugs on this thing, so bear with me. I'm a little short-staffed here, but I thank you very much, and we're going to get you on the list and get it all working. The reason I'm trying to make it happen is I'm trying to make it work, work seamlessly, but it's not working as seamlessly as I'd like it. But I'm going to try to get to all of you on the subscribe. And thank you also for going ahead. And, you're in Texas. Excellent. At least I see Texas there. That's great. I'm in Texas too. Hopefully I get you on the list on this. If it all fails, go to, because it takes me a little bit of time to update it sometimes, just go to DallasTradingFloor.com and just put your information in there. And then if on the subscribe to the trade alerts, and then also ask a question, just put a note in there, and I read all of those. I don't necessarily read them as fast as I need to, but I'll make sure that you get on the list. I'm going to make this a little bit more seamless going forward. Thanks again for everybody on the special Tesla edition. So appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to watch. I'm on 2:30 to 3:30 every market day, and hopefully we can make some money together. Definitely with this Tesla thing, we're going to make some money on this one, and then there are going to be other opportunities coming forward. Again, if you get your if you get on the special trade alerts, it's totally free, and you can unsubscribe anytime you want. But this was a way I could communicate with you if I have something coming up and I need to get it out to a lot of people really quickly. Thanks again, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow.